next up, we're going to be introducing Daniel. Give it up for Daniel, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a time where it has never been easier to win. Yet it has also never been easier to do nothing. And these days, courage is in far shorter supply than intelligence. When I was 14, I began to think about how I was going to apply to these big universities. I was terrified of being left behind. I wasn't just afraid of being rejected. I was afraid of being average. And everyone around me kept stressing about their extracurriculars, saying how you needed these big, meaningful experiences to get into top schools. And I had nothing on my resume. And so very quickly I realized that I wanted to find some work fast. I sent out email after email, praying that I would land an interview. But I never got a response. I felt invisible and powerless. And so I did the only thing that I could think of at the time. I gave up. Just like that. I tried something, but it got hard, and so I gave up. I thought to myself, well, this game of getting higher is really hard game to play. I don't know play. And so instead, I would try to build my own business. Because that's what all the other successful kids were doing online and out of business. And after days of deliberating and watching YouTube videos and researching, I came to the conclusion I didn't have time to start a business. Nor did I have the money. And even if I did have the money, how was I going to make it all back? I didn't know. And so what did I do? I quit. I said, the game of business is just not really realistic for me right now. I don't know how to play. By this time, months had passed, and although I had made these decisions to save my time, abandon my endeavors before I got too invested, the truth was that I was in the exact same spot. Sure, I did myself a long time, a lot of suffering, but my circumstances didn't change, and neither did my behaviors. And here lies the first little nugget of wisdom I can give you. If you don't take action, regardless of the reason, regardless if it's justified, the truth is, the objective truth is that you did nothing. And you can argue and say that making an uninformed decision could set you back. But I would come back at you and say that even an uninformed decision gets the ball rolling. It creates change. But take the opposite. Say you continue to search for clarity, play it safe, prepare, research, whatever you want to call it. You will guarantee that you won't lose. You will guarantee that you won't waste your time. And here's the one that no one wants to admit. You also guarantee that you never win either. And so if you come back to the drawing board, you realize by taking action, yes, you incur the risk of failing, of getting hurt, of maybe wasting your time. But you also get a chance to get what you want. But if you don't take action, you guarantee that you lose because you never change anything about an already losing situation. Keep that at the back of your head as I tell you the rest of my story. I'm 15 now, and I'm desperate to find something that would separate me from the rest of the competition. I joined online communities, bought courses, read books, watched tutorials, and drowned myself in a sea of self-help information that didn't change anything about me. And at that point, I didn't just feel lost. I felt like every path that I considered was a trap. Like everything was a waste of time. Like it would all work out for somebody else, but it wouldn't work out for me. But one day, something strange happened. I was scrolling through an online Facebook community when I found this job listing for an online salesperson with no prior experience. I applied, not expecting much. Yet only 2 days later, I got an interview. It was this small international startup looking to provide marketing services to dentists. They wanted me to do cold calling. You know, that job where you call up random people, convince them that you're not a scammer, and tell something random. Yeah, the most glamorous job in the world. On top of that, they expected me to do over 200 calls a week, and I wouldn't be paid a single dollar unless I made them some money. Which was a little difficult, considering I was 15. And if you're all sitting here thinking, well, that's a terrible job. In what world would anyone take a job like this? Just like me. Again, I had every reason to not take the risk, to play it safe, to stay stagnant and wait for the next big opportunity to magically fall into my lap. Just desperately else. Tired of not doing anything. That day, for once, I said yes. And that decision proved to be the best decision I have ever made in my life. Because I got rejected over 10 times a day. Every day, for 6 months straight without making a single dollar. And all of you in this room are sitting here thinking, that's awful. In what world is this something to be proud about? That thought right there is the killer of all dreams and ambitions. The type of thoughts that go, this is not worth it. I'm above this type of work. This is too hard, this is too risky. This is not a good return on investment. Because you never would have imagined that through this horrible job, that I found out what kind of career I wanted to pursue in the future. It's not cold calling yet, it lasts. You never would have imagined that through this opportunity that I overcame my fear of social anxiety and built up strong enough communication skills to get the privilege to speak to you here today. And it is because we're unable to foresee what I call imperceivable gifts. These hidden benefits, realizations, and skills that we never could have predicted would come out from an opportunity like this. We're so stuck up in what we could lose and what's at stake that we forget to just look up and think about what we could gain. We forget to even consider why we take risks and change things in the first place. Because we're in a losing situation. I never could have imagined in a billion years that this cold calling job from a shady Discord server would transform my life, change my life trajectory, and turn me into someone I'm actually respected for once. But living through that, I have developed new skills, mindsets, lessons that I didn't think were possible from something like this. And I say all this, not to brag, but because every day the world told me that the pain wasn't worth it. Every day the world said that this is not worth your time and there's probably something better that you could be doing. My parents thought I was working for scammers. My friends laughed at me because I didn't make any money for my so-called job. I stayed working despite working 10 times harder. But by some miracle, I kept going. And 9 months later, I closed my first sale for a little over $10,000. And the greatest lesson that I took from that experience was not the communication skills, it wasn't the money, it wasn't even overcoming my social anxiety. It was building courage. The courage to stay resilient when there was nothing to celebrate about, no reason to continue, every reason to quit, to stay committed and have unreasonable commitment in the face of adversity when there is no signs of success. Because what I have realized is that the greater the reward, the greater the sacrifice. And you have to be willing to weather that storm, to pay that price. And I have taken that mindset with me about every project that I have started since. Like all good things, my time at this company eventually came to a close. There were some internal arguments, and eventually they disbanded, leaving me with nothing but my own experiences. With newfound motivation and maturity, I decided to move on and pursue my dream of inspiring other people through YouTube videos. And as you can imagine, it wasn't easy. I started by spending over 30 hours a week creating videos that I was proud of, while losing my mind over trying to balance really high grades in school. And at the end of each grueling week, I was rewarded with no more than 20 views. Think about that for a second. 1.5 hours worth of work for one view. This time I knew that the hero's journey paid off. I knew that if I just kept sticking with this, that eventually I would be good enough to create significant change. Because the work works on you more than you work on it. And so, I endured failure after failure for 3 months straight, until one day, some random video blew up and reached over 500,000 views, propelling my channel to over 10,000 subscribers. And because of the path that lies behind me, I have been given the privilege to talk to you on stage here today. I'm not saying that you have to be like me. I'm not saying that you have to do anything like that. I'm not arguing on behalf of you in this room more talented than I am. But what I am saying is that you have to take risks. You have to take action, create change, do the thing you said you were going to do after it became hard. Because everything you want is on the other side of a few hard conversations. When you first start out, with no experience, no skills, no achievements, everything looks like a waste of time to you. Everything looks like it probably won't work out. Every day you're going to be sat there, uncomfortable with the fact that you're not where you want to be, and there's something better that you probably could be doing. But you have to have courage. You have to be able to say, I'm going to stick with this, and I'm okay if I lose my time, because I trust in myself. You have to have that resilience to keep going when you have nothing to celebrate about. When your friends are not cheering for you, you're just stopping middle of a marathon, hoping to see the end. And despite having little life experience in the grand scheme of things, I have never gone further in my life by thinking harder. I have always been rewarded for doing things, for taking action, and dealing with the consequences of doing so. And before I finish my speech, I'd like to leave you all with one final vision. You cannot stare through the fog of a mountain and expect to find your way to the top. You have to muster up the courage to take one step into the unknown, and then another, and another, and another. And with each step, you will find that the fog becomes more and more clear, and so does the path to the top. We live in a time where it has never been easier to win. It has also never been easier to do nothing. And these days, courage is in far shorter supply than intelligence. And so, your ability, your willingness to lose determines your ability to win. And so stop preparing